Hello everyone, and earlier today I got to see the movie The Witch, which is like getting a good reception really, and yeah, I'm just here to give you my thoughts on it. And this movie essentially takes place in like the 18 and 1630s New England. Essentially, it's centered around this really weird like type of farm household type of place. Type of point in history, really, where this family is explaining this mystery of this entity out in the forest that has, well, I don't know, they don't know for sure really if it's an entity or not, that's taken one of their youngest child, their youngest daughter, out into the, just experiencing the disappearance of it and how they're coping with it and how they're trying to solve it, but also we're going through the film with a lot of tension and suspense and thrills. And I wouldn't say I was hesitant to see it, but I was, at least to say, we just say I wasn't too excited to see this, because the last horror movie I saw I hated, which was a Paranormal Activity movie, and that was my least favorite last year. So I'm trying to see the best movies I can, and my God, did I love this movie. I thought it was very good. I was really impressed by this movie. I thought the budget, the look and the feel was really, really low. Like, it was low budget. Like, right here, I'm looking at the side of it, and it says it cost $1 million to make this film. And I'm like, that's insane. That's really insane. And it really, shockingly enough, impresses me with its gorgeous cinematography, the compelling script, the compelling performances by everyone, the fascinating lore, and the almost intricate mental, psychological levels that goes into this film. A lot of people are going to this film expecting a traditional horror movie with jump scares and scare and all that type of stuff like that. And I will say it uses those type of tropes in this movie, but it feels smart, it feels sophisticated, and feels earned when it does it, because it respects the craft, it respects the audience, and it knows who the audience is and what they want out of it, and they don't just expect a dumbed down, generic type of modern day horror movie. I'm really just taken back by how good this movie was, and I was really impressed by it. All the actors, I don't know most of them. I never seen them in anything before, really. But my God, I was very impressed by all of them, including the mother in this family. She really friggin' she was insanely amazing. All the kids were really great. They were all really, really solid. My God, I was really impressed by this film. The film brings on a tea of suspense. Like, in the beginning, it explains, not entirely, but it gives a good clue what's going on. So you get the feeling, and then it goes into the family, and then therefore it draws out the strings of what happens. So therefore, it leaves the audience acting towards the family like, no, don't you get it? It's like you're trying to. It's almost like you're sitting there. You can't tell the family what's really going on, because there's something there. The film gives something to clue, not too much away, but it gives a certain explanation in the beginning that makes you feel like you know more than the family does. So therefore, you can really feel the genuine thrill and the shock and the tragedy of what happens to this family. And I think that's very commendable from the director's standpoint. It's very, very good. They knew how to sell the actors. They were all excellent. They knew how to sell that vulnerability state, how the father would correspond with a missing child, the mother would, how the other siblings would feel like that, like how would a brother or a sister, even though this movie had, or whatever, like, it really it knows how to feel what it feels like to have the loss of a family, the loss of someone close to you, and how even in what is supposed to be, I wouldn't say perfect family, but when most people think of a family, they think of nice, open, comforting. And I'm sure there's those really close-minded type of families out there, but it knows how to bring out. It's like, oh, aren't families supposed to be really nice, warm, and opening? And it shows no, it can get very hostile, especially when something goes wrong. You think in a movie, when something bad happens to someone within a family, the family comes closer than ever and has each other's backs. It's like, no, it shows a good sign of who to trust, and a good sign of trust and loyalty and almost like the essence of being, it's very, very hard to describe in a way, but there's just something very admirable about the way this film was made, because it knows how to make you feel for the family. And I think it was a very, very interesting and smart and clever move for that. Again, the acting is really fantastic. The way it looks, the cinematography itself is gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. I really love it. It's something that it kind of reminded me of the Revenant, really enough. With a bit of the low angle shots of the forest, I'm like, it feels like the Revenant. I'm like, that's quite interesting. But it has some really beautiful cinematography. I'm going on about the cinematography. There's a lot of wide shots that are really wonderful. It knows how to get. It knows how to sell the atmosphere. It knows how to make you really feel like you're in New England in the deep forest with all these the hollow woods. The hollow woods of what's going on, and the real atmosphere and the tone, and how it's almost like caving on you. And it knows how to make it seem like how you can have so much range of space in your own home vicinity. And it knows how to make you feel both so tight. I wouldn't say tight, but it knows how to make you feel so damn weird. I don't know how to describe it, but it shows there's almost like there's an ominous fate to it, because it feels like as far as you may go into the forest, the witch or the entity what's in there will always get you. So it feels like you have so much freedom, but there is no freedom at all when you're in the forest. No matter what, in the film, it kind of has a feeling like no matter where you go, no matter what you do, it can follow and it can get you. And it really gives a solid mental state in your mind. I'm like, it really drives you crazy in how far isolation can really bring you. And I think it's a really interesting perspective on it. And the last build up towards the end, I thought was fantastic. I thought it was really, really well done. The suspense was riveting. I was really engaged by that, and I was so fascinated, truly, because of that aspect alone. And that there's a real, I wouldn't say grit to it, but there's a real heaviness, and there's a real authority feel from the family, from the parents to the children, and it feels so damn real because of it. It really feels so tragic, and it doesn't, because the tragedy and suspense and the upsetting nature of what happens within the family, you really do grow to care for them, and you really, as a whole, just are really, really impressed by it. In my opinion, it really sold me, really. I was very, very impressed by it. And in the end, I loved The Witch. I do have a few problems with it. Number one, and it is slow. That's one of my big problems. It's a bit slow. There's some moments you wish you could just pick up on. I'm like, okay, oh yeah, just speed through, please. And but they're still fascinating, and you still feel, as a whole, those scenes are important for the film as a whole. But you do feel like it kind of drags the film a bit behind because of that. And but even with the pacing issues, it's like a few and far between. There's like 3 to 4 times in the movie where I felt the length of it. was a bit too long. I felt like it was a bit too long, really. Even though it's like an hour and a half at most. It's like an hour and 35 minutes, really. It's a typical movie length. It's an hour and a half, and as a whole, I'm just like, here enough. Don't know what to say, really, but... And the other thing that was a bit of distraction was the ending itself. It doesn't feel like a cop-out, but it feels like, oh, how typical of a horror movie to end it on that type of note. I wouldn't say it can. It's weird to say. I would also say it kind of feels uninspired at the end. The ending feels very traditional for a horror movie as a whole, and in the end, my few problems with the movie are apparent, but they're not enough to really drag the film down. But as a whole, I loved The Witch, and I thought it was a real outstanding movie in my opinion, with great cinematography, brilliant suspense, fantastic acting, and a consistent basis of keeping me tightly in my seat for the whole time. And near the end, I had to go to the washroom bad, but I'm just like, I gotta stick it through. Because I'm so glued to this scene. And as soon as like the credits start rolling, I round out like it was like the whole place was on fire. I'm like, oh man, I'm trying to get out now. Too much information, I'd say. Probably that's too much. I'm sorry, but as a whole, The Witch was surprisingly great, and I give The Witch an 80. I'm giving it an 84%. I'm very, very entertained by it. I really thought it was a good movie as a whole. Like one of my big factors for any movie ever for me is replayability. It's replayability. Replayability. Oh my god, availability. And I feel, and there's a certain essence of this film where it feels like it gives you a good essence of what's going on, but there's still some things that are left unscathed, but if you're for the right reasons. And the more you watch it, the more you gain from it. So I feel like this may be a good movie to see on repeat viewings. Excuse me. As a whole, I love The Witch, and I will give it an 84%. Everyone, that's my rating for the movie. I really do hope you enjoyed it. And stick around for the weekend when I will give you my review of Race, I believe it was called, about that sprinter person, whatever. When I will release that review, everyone. Until then, everyone, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the future for more videos. Till then, it's Jack, signing out. Bye.